Now we will look at SD 51.2. That is the Dukkha Padana Sutta on page 14. Dukkha Padana Sutta, the Two's Discourse on Striving, A2.2. So this is the Buddha is talking about two things which are difficult for us to do, especially as lay people. That is, if we are a true practicing Buddhist. The Two's Discourse on Striving, A2.2. This is page 16, 1-6. Bhikshus, there are these two kinds of striving difficult to fulfill in the world. What are the two? Number one, the striving of the laity, dwelling at home, wishing to offer robes, alms, food, lodging, and medicine and support for the sick. And the striving of the renunciant, who have gone forth from home into homelessness for the sake of the abandoning of all acquisitions. These bhikshus are the two kinds of striving difficult to fulfill in the world. Now, so this is one of those rare teachings again, where the Buddha is talking a topic that seems to be quite simple, but there are kind of some deep significance in this teaching. So first you have the layperson. Notice the Buddha only says this laity, this householder, like most of us who are living at home, how to make offerings to others, how to practice generosity. And as you know, giving is the very first practice that is normally listed in the progressive training of a Buddhist. We learn to be charitable. But how to be charitable? How can we be kind to others so that we are not exploited, we don't waste our wealth, and this charity that we make will help the other person and not actually spoil the other person or encourage the other person to cheat or to commit evil and so on. So it's not simple. Okay? So here, of course, the four supports are mentioned: robes, that is clothing; alms, food, that is, of course, food, lodging, and health, that is medicine and support for the sick. So you can also say this applies to supporting the monastics, the monks and nuns. How do we support these monks and nuns? So, are they worthy of support? Are they virtuous practitioners? What if we give to the wrong group or wrong individual, and so on? So, and the next thing, of course, is we may not be able to give because we don't have enough even to support ourselves, for example. So if we are poor, how do we make such offerings? Of course, in that case, there are other ways charity can be made. So you have two, let's say you have dana and you have chaga. Dana usually refers to something material that can be given, whereas chaga is more broad. Charity is more broad. You don't just give things, but you can also give intangibles. For example, you give service. You go to a temple, you help around, or you go to this Buddhist society or group and you help around, or you give knowledge, you give counseling. Counseling here, properly done, is called the gift of safety. Okay, or the gift of fearlessness. So, and of course, the highest of all this is the gift of the Dharma. If we're able to teach others the Dharma and they feel joyful and happy and inspired, or they are strengthened, they are inspired to avoid doing bad, to cultivate the good, purify their mind, then you have given the highest gift. So these are things we need to consider. Now, in the case of the monastics, the renunciants themselves, who have gone forth from home into homelessness, they too have a great challenge, and their challenge is renunciation itself. How do they let go of attachment to the world? Because it's so easy today to be attached, because you find today most monastics have more things and better things than even the average lay person has. And monastics tend to be very well treated wherever they go. So sometimes, a person may renounce the world with very good, very noble intentions. Then as they progress as a monk, the lay people kind of respect them, adore them, worship them, and sometimes just give them a wrong idea that they are special. But what, of course, we are respecting is what is behind this renunciation. That's the Buddha and the Buddha's teaching. So it'd be very foolish of the monastic to think that it is the person, it is the monastic himself that the lay people are adoring. And of course it'd be a very serious mistake for the lay people to adore the person of the renunciant. Rather, the task of the laity is to, in a sense, inspire the monastic to practice renunciation. So in this sense, it is quite difficult for the renunciant when they forget what they have to do, or when they're not reminded what to do. So only today there was this monk on my Facebook who says that he's feeling a little unhappy on Facebook, reading all this, so many messages and stuff, and so his friends are trying to kind of console him. So I wrote there and I said, Bhante, you are meant for higher things, so don't worry too much about all these things, Facebook and so on. You have to set your mind right. What is it you are supposed to do as a monk? The world will be what it is. You can't change the world, but you can change yourself. So this is a usual reminder that teachers would give their students. And this is something worthwhile to remember, because it comes from the Buddha himself, telling us these are not easy things to do. So we have to remind ourselves, what are we here for as a lay person? What's our task? As a lay person, we should at least aspire to stream winning, so that we don't fall into the subhuman states and then it's impossible to practice the Dharma for a long time. When we aspire to stream winning, then we head for the path. Definitely by the end of this life we would reach it, and then from there we progress on the path. And if we do well, in time we will meet the future Buddha. Maybe as a stream winner, or maybe we meet the Buddha and become a stream winner. So instead of simply aspiring to say, well, I want to meet the future Buddha, and doing nothing about it, you will never meet the future Buddha by just saying like that. You have to aspire to be a stream winner. That's a better bet to meet the future Buddha. Even if you do not meet the future Buddha, because of this aspiration, because you have set your mind on this course, somehow reflecting on impermanence, you will realize stream winning, and that will set you on the right course towards awakening. So there you are. I hope this reflection will help us put ourselves on the right course. And one last point is about the renunciants. Some very powerful thoughts and very noble aspirations have brought us to renounce the world, to become monks. It's something very difficult. And if we do not value this very special condition that we have for personal training, personal evolution, personal growth and awakening, then we are really wasting all this wonderful good karma that we have. And we will lose this good karma because we are creating bad karma if we are lazy, or we break the Vinaya rules and so on. On the other hand, if we do practice properly, which at least attaining stream winning in this life, if not the higher states, definitely it's very much easier as a renunciant, because your life is such that you have more time, you're supposed to have more time, more peace, and less distractions in the world. So these are the blessings of renunciation. Right, so the Buddha, towards the end, section 3 continues, of these two kinds of striving bhikshus, the foremost is the striving for the abandoning of all acquisitions. Therefore, bhikshus, you should train yourself thus. We will strive for the abandoning of all acquisition. Let me read the last part. The foremost is the striving for the abandoning of all acquisitions. So, in other words, renunciation. Therefore, bhikshus, you should train yourself thus. We will strive for the abandoning of all acquisitions. So, in short, if we put the whole of Buddhism as taught by the Buddha, we can put it in one word: renunciation, letting go. As Buddhists, the first thing we learn to let go is our anger, which is the easiest to let go. And then we let go of our useless, unhelpful desires. Letting go of delusion is a bit more tricky because we don't even know it's there. So we need to understand the suttas that help us identify delusion, wrong views, and so on. When we meditate, we let go of our five senses. That's the first thing we let go of, a physical letting go. Then as we find more peace, we let go of thoughts, a mental letting go. And then in the future, we are able to let go of all our views and defilements, that is spiritual letting go. So these are the various ways of looking at renunciation. So finally the Buddha says, these bhikshus is how you should train yourselves. And so the sutta ends there, right? So do reflect on this advice the Buddha gives us on how difficult it is sometimes for us to live as Buddhists, so therefore we've got to make that extra effort. Let us close with a short reflection. The Buddha once again is reminding us that there is still this opportunity, there's still the right conditions for us to strive for awakening. All we need to do is look within ourselves and see impermanence, look outside of ourselves and see impermanence. And this is our teacher, letting go of the world simply because it's not ours anyway. So that way we will journey rightly. Reflecting in this way is very good karma. By the power of such karma, may we be blessed with peace of mind and good health, so that we are able to have the courage and wisdom to aspire to attain at least stream winning in this life. By the same virtue of the three jewels, may our loved ones, our family and relatives and friends be well and happy. May those who are practicing the Dharma to be well and happy. May those who are lost and have difficulties to find their way to the true path in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.